And welcome back. It is Off Topic, on brand. I'm Siege. That is obviously not Smitty. This is my wife, Trista. Smitty is under the weather. He is not dead. Don't worry. He's fine. He's just not feeling well. He was worried about his voice. So instead of going a week without an episode, we decided, hey, let's go ahead and do this together. Let's do a different episode. And because we did not do a book episode last week or have What's Trista Reading last week, we decided, hey, let's go ahead and do a main event book topic. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Trista, how was your week since our last recording session?
Quite a bit has happened. We had spring break. We didn't really do that much. Like, usually we go on a trip, but this year we just decided to get done with some house projects. We had a dumpster, threw away a bunch of crap, which made me feel really good. I don't know about you, but...
Well, we can move around to the garage now, and there's a lot more breathing room in the basement, too. So that definitely helps. Yeah, on top of that, I took a few days off toward the end of the week so we could definitely clean some more stuff out and be productive with my time. Another thing was my parents and brother came up, and we got to spend a few days with them. So one of the big things that we did, besides going and doing a shopping trip, was my daughter, unfortunately, she does not have
a chicken nugget palate.
Yeah, she's got relatively open palate, but the problem is expensive taste. So she loves and begs for sushi all the time. So we did have a sushi date with my family and her and us. And we ate to our heart's content. Thank you to Izumi for your all-you-can-eat option. That absolutely saves on the bank account. Otherwise, if it was itemized, we would be in the poorhouse right now.
Yeah, so good.
And then yesterday, well, it's Wednesday as of recording, and Tuesday was the very first softball practice for our daughter. Doesn't look like she lost many steps at all from last year.
No.
And she's playing on a team with a lot of girls that do all year softball. So definitely made me feel good that she hasn't lost many steps at all. So, but with that, we had a shopping trip over the weekend. But as soon as we are done recording here today, we've got another shopping trip. She has outgrown all of her softball stuff. So we're going to need to think about selling a kidney or two. Yeah,
softball is an expensive sport that we're learning, but she loves it. And so after we're done recording, we're going to do a little shopping. She needs a new bat, a new helmet, new pants, new socks, you name it. We don't have to get a new
face mask. That's something. So.
Or a new glove. Yeah. That still is perfect. We got that new last year, and that was a good chunk of change. But
my favorite part about the shopping trip is we're going to go to Dick's.
Yeah, you like Dick's.
Anyway, so that was kind of what I experienced this weekend. And I also got to experience something you're going to talk about, what happened on Monday.
Monday was one of my tea parties. This is year 3 of doing my tea parties, and I think every time I enjoy them a little bit more. This one was an Irish themed one with Irish authors being highlighted. I've done an Irish tea before, and it was just everyone that came was super complimentary. I don't just host them, I make everything for the teas. I'm famous, I guess, for my shortbread cookies. They are melt in your mouth. I've been asked by multiple people when I'm going to start selling them. Well, the farmer's market this year, people will be able to buy them from me.
And I'm sure if you that are watching are not going to be able to make it to the Perry Farmers Market, you would have no issue messaging and we could hook you up through the mail. So
yeah.
So a good turnout. And
sold out.
A lot of compliments from people, not just on the food and just kind of the overall aesthetic of it, but a lot more this time that I heard that were
first-timers.
We wish you did this all the time.
Yeah, I had a lot of, man, if you could do this full time, would you? Yes, I would love to. But also know that, you know, over time, it may not last as much as my true profession, which is teaching. But I had people this time who have never been before. That was most of the people this time was they've never been. There was one lady who was here from Colorado, and that shocked me. Like, that's crazy. I've had, you know, people from Missouri come.
That's cheating. They know
they
us.
were family. So, but people came from as far north as, you know, Fort Dodge, which is like an hour and a half from us. So that's, you know, crazy. I've had people come from even further north. They just see, you know, they look out for teas, and I've got another one planned in May. And that theme is, I am super excited for. It is Princess Bride themed. It's probably the greatest movie of all time. I love the book as well. But yeah, that one is going to be a lot of fun. I found a cookbook. It has pretty much everything all planned. I just have to make the stuff. So that'll be people, when I told people about it, they were like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. So
we may have an inadvertent costume contest while we're there at that tea. So,
yeah.
But that's all exciting stuff. That's our check-in. Now, time for our pop culture. So, pop culture this week. I have a very specific thing to hit on. So if you want to go first, then I can express my thoughts.
Okay. So, one of my favorite shows is back. It's on PBS. And it airs over in the UK about several months in advance of here in the States, but it is called The Midwife. I've been hooked on this show from the beginning, but I am super excited. It started on Sunday, and just this season I know is going to be full of ups and downs, and every episode usually makes me cry. I'm a crier anyways, whether it be for happy or sad. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. And even my daughter likes to watch it with me. From a little bit younger age, she called it the baby show. And so that's usually what I will refer to it as, is the baby show. There are some topics on there that, you know, I don't always, think are the greatest to watch with young children, but she is very curious, very independent, always has been, and so she asks questions, and we're very upfront with her. Another thing that I'm like super excited about is so Bake Off. It's a great British baking show, or Bake Off. Is Prue, who has been a judge for years. She came on after Mary Berry.
Yeah, so she's been on for quite
a long time. But she is leaving the show. She's in her 80s, which, yeah, lady, go rest. She wants to go play in her garden, and you know that's awesome.
You're not even in your 80s and you want to do that.
Yeah, I have old lady hobbies. Hush. But anyways, they announced the new host, and it's Nigella Lawson, and she's fantastic. I think she's highly qualified to do this. She's been on TV for a long time. A lot of people, you know, might know her from an internet thing that went around a few years ago. And she kind of became even more famous because she referred to a microwave as a microwave.
That's our daughter's favorite thing. Whenever we tell her to, can you go ahead and cook this or put this in the microwave, she corrects us.
Yeah,
it's the microwave.
It's the microwave. You can't say it's not. In our house, it's microwave. It's not microwave anymore. So yeah, that's my big pop culture news. What's yours?
Well, Smitty and I did our bracketeering for the NCAA. And I will preface this not in the swearing that I said that I would do if I crashed and burned last week. I will phrase it in a quote that came from the series Ozark from Netflix. I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to the NCAA. My men's bracket is still alive, and I will not kind of air any of Smitty's laundry when it comes to his brackets, but I've got mine pulled up right now. On the women's side, I am busted. I'm busted bad. Out of my final 4 teams, 1 team is still alive as of recording. Iowa State, Iowa, Baylor, all out. Texas is the only one that is still alive. So needless to say, I'm done. Smitty's going to kick my ass on the women's side of things. On the men's side, however, I am still alive. And going forward, let me look. I am currently beating Smitty in points, 440 to 390. And as I scroll. So out of my final 4, 2 teams are still alive, and that would be Iowa and Iowa State, which are my championship game, and I've still got Iowa State winning. Again, very optimistic thinking, but as proven by my women's bracket, I don't know shit about fuck. And our pop culture segment, I think we can put a wrap on that with a nice little bow that's prettier than my brackets. But we teased it at the very, very beginning of the podcast. We have got a special tie-in for our main event topic. When I asked Trista if she would be willing to be a co-host this week and not just bull rush me off camera, I wanted to throw out a few options. I wanted to tie in book theme because that's absolutely your thing.
Yeah.
And one of my topics that she really, really liked the idea of comes from inspiration from one of my favorite college classes I've ever taken, fiction to film. So what we are doing is we are taking 2 of our favorite books that we've read in recent memory or just ever, and we are going to essentially fan cast what we would like to see for actors and actresses of the main characters, either in a television series, in a movie, or whatever adaptation you would like to see. So, Trista, I think we're going to let you lead it off here in just a moment.
All right. So, gonna start off with my favorite author. She's been on New York, best-selling authors. She's been around for a while. But Catherine Bybee, I have read her books, and I think I've talked about her when I, rushed him off the last time. But she's just a solid storyteller, writer. I love the characters that she does. But this is probably my favorite book of hers. It's called The Beginning of Forever. It is the book 3 of the D'Angelo's series. So it's an Italian family, big, loud, wine-loving Italian. They own an Italian restaurant. They actually live where the restaurant is. So it's like the whole family lives in this restaurant, high-rise, whatever, in San Diego area. And so it sounds like it could be, a real thing in Little Italy, which I'm like, man, I really want to go find this. But this is a story that goes around Gio, or for short, Giovanni. But everyone calls him Gio, and Emma. So Gio is the family wine expert. He is their sommelier, and he has been so busy taking care of his family, and just because his 2 older brothers, or 1 older, 1 younger, got married, and it's just he has put his life on the back burner to take care of his family. So on his birthday, he's turning 30. His family decides, you know what? We're giving you this. You're leaving. And they give him a trip to Tuscany, and he's going to do this wine tour, and he's going to see his family that's also in the Tuscany, Florence area. So, they also really want him to find a wife. His mom is like, pick one, fall in love. I don't care. You do, whatever. Kind of that Italian guilt, Catholic guilt. So then Emma, she is an heiress to a wine company. But her dad, I'm just going to put it, he's an asshole. He thinks that she, has no part to be in this company. She has proven herself time and time again. Her dad keeps telling her, you have a trust fund. Why don't you use that? You don't even have to work. She wants to work for her money. Well, it's also her birthday, the same day as Gio's. And her mom is like, you need to take a trip. So her mom tells her she needs to pick something. And what does she pick? A wine tour of Tuscany. So poor Emma, I'm going to go back on her story a little bit. She has been married. Her husband, ex-husband, is who is promoted over her. Instead of her getting this job, he gets it. And she pretty much tells her dad, screw you, I'm going to go buy my own winery.
And with blackjack and hookers.
I was going to say that, but I'm glad you did. Well, anyways, so Gio and Emma have a little meet cute when they get to Tuscany. Her luggage gets lost, and he is going to help her find her luggage. So he volunteers to take her to where they say they're going to send her luggage. They get there. It's not her luggage. So that's a whole different story. But then they both find out that they are in the wine business somehow. Emma doesn't tell him who she is because she has a lot of money. She doesn't know this guy, but they both find out that they live near to each other because she is also from California. Well, anyways, so they get together. Then when they get back to the States, they go back and forth seeing each other, and Emma finds out she has this horrible medical condition. Some other things happen. And as Emma works to cement her family legacy while dealing with her challenges, Gio tries to convince her that their future isn't just wine, it's each other.
Aww.
Yes. So
before we go into your casting choices, we didn't establish the ground rules, but would this be a movie? Would this be a limited series, or would it be a
This is definitely
season series?
This is definitely a movie. Now, if we did the whole series, the whole book series, it's 5 books. That would be a TV series. So a season for each book. But I think, this one would just be, one movie. It's a good romance movie. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Gio and who I think would play him. So Gio is your typical Italian man. He's tall, dark, handsome. His family comes first, and he has been known to be one with the ladies. Okay. I don't know if you've seen Italian men, but yes. So I'm going to probably butcher this actor's name, but I even looked up how to say his name, because the way you look at it, it looks like his name is Michel Marone. Okay? No, it's Michel Marone. And I'm probably butchering that still.
The hand gesture was dead on. That helps with the pronunciation.
Yeah. Anyways, but this man, you guys, he's fine. I'm just going to lay it out there. He's Italian, totally has that tall, dark thing going. And I don't know, he's kind of buff. He looks like he would just, you look in his eyes and it's like swoon. He has a nice, stubble. I have a thing for men with a little bit of stubble, obvious. But yeah, I think this guy would be the perfect guy to play Geo. He's been in a few different things. But going into Emma is fierce. She is red-haired, and we know how red-haired people are. She's fierce, strong, and determined. She has a background in wine, a disastrous first marriage, and a desire to prove herself in a male-dominated industry, making her cautious about starting a new relationship. So I think Elizabeth Lale would be perfect to play her. She usually is blonde, but I think, she could have that strawberry blonde hair easily.
Well, let's be real. The majority of red-haired actresses in Hollywood are not natural redheads anyway.
No, but she is an approachable person. Her eyes are gorgeous. And Emma is described as, her beauty is just stunning. And Geo just is kind of like when he sees her the first time. So Elizabeth Lale, and I hope I'm saying her last name correctly. She was in the Five Nights at Freddy's movies. Okay. So she's done a lot of horror things. So I thought this would be, kind of different to put her in. But yeah, that is. I'm just casting the two main characters of my books. I'm sure I could go through and cast the others. But in romance novels, you usually have two main characters and then you have like some friends in the background and stuff. So these are the two that I went for. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So my first book is actually the first of a series. The author is Catherine Arden, and it's The Bear and the Nightingale. It's kind of a fantasy book, but it's also kind of Russian history tied in as well. So a lot of folklore that she did research on. So some of the characters in the book are based on real folklore from Russia, but she is not Russian. I don't know what her deep family roots are, but again, I would do a series. I would do Netflix, HBO, Amazon, and do all three books as multiple series in each book. The first one, Bear and the Nightingale, at the edge of the Russian wilderness, winter lasts most of the year and the snowdrifts grow taller than houses. Vasilia doesn't mind. She spends the winter nights huddled around the embers of the fire with her siblings, listening to her grandmother's fairy tales. Above all, she loves the chilling story of Frost, the blue-eyed winter demon who appears in the frigid night to claim unwary souls. Wise Russians fear him, her nurse says, and honor the spirits of the house, yard, and forest that protect their homes from evil. Well, her mom dies. Father goes to Moscow to bring a new wife home. A fiercely devout, city-bred Christian, and she doesn't want any of those house spirits. She doesn't want any of that pagan belief system. And really what's happening is, as Christianity comes in, all these house spirits are fading. So they don't have as much power. They can't do things to protect the home. I think it's a really interesting take on a lot of English folklore stuff. Just that Eastern European influence where things are a little darker, kind of like the Grimm's fairy tales, where it's definitely been toned down for the English audience. But regardless, there is a villain. Frost's brother is a awful, awful spirit. He thrives on hatred and evil and blah, 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 blah. So those are going to be the 3 characters I cast. I originally had more, but this is one of those series that you kind of love all the characters in it. So actually I'm going to do 4 main characters.
Okay.
Vasya is what her nickname is. She's going to be the main character. Now, she starts off as a little girl. She's very tomboyish. She's running around bare feet. She will not stay indoors. She will not do the ladylike things. She has no interest in ever getting a husband. But as she gets older, this woman has played younger roles so far, so I think she can pull it off. It's Thomasin McKenzie. The name might not make any connection to you, but she's been in the horror film Last Night in Soho. That was an Edgar Wright movie. What was the last one she was in? I just grabbed that. Oh, she was in the mock you movie instead of Downton Abbey, the Fockham Hall.
Oh, yeah.
So she is a character in it, but she definitely has looks that are very similar to what I would picture a grown-up or older Vasya would have. But young girl, able to see the spirits that lurk within her home village, possesses the powers to battle the evil bear. The evil bear, the villain of the story, one of the villains, is Medved. This is, let's see, he is a one-eyed man that's seen tied to a tree when Vasya is a little girl. She frees him, and he turns into the bear. He is essentially what is created, or a spirit that is devout on destroying the world. I chose Jack O'Connell. And for those of you that don't know, Jack O'Connell, you just saw him at the Oscars with fangs. He is one of the vampires from Sinners.
Oh.
He's one of the traveling musicians.
Ah.
So he definitely has range. If he's going to be scary, if he's going to be evil, I think he's absolutely got the range to pull that off. And then the brother, the frost spirit, Morozoko. I'm definitely butchering the name. My Russian is not solid. I'm choosing Luke Evans.
Oh.
So in the live action Beauty and the Beast, he played Gaston. He's been in Fast and the Furious, one of those movies. He was the Bowman in the 3-part adaptation of The Hobbit, and he even was Dracula in Dracula Untold. So he's definitely got a lot of range. He is someone that protects Vasya. His whole lore is he pulls in maidens and he gives them the option. You can take all this gold or you can blah, blah, blah. And essentially the tale is he kills them. But Vasya is such a wild spirit that he's like, I don't know what to do with you. So as the series progresses, it turns more lovey-dovey, but definitely a cool character, and I think Luke has got the, you saw my wife's reaction. He definitely has that magnetic pull about him. And then the last one, I said I was only going to do 4. I can't go without talking about the priest that comes to Vasya's village and tries to convert everyone and convinces them they'll go to hell if they believe in the house spirits. I am going to go for Constantine, Jamie Campbell Bower. And I didn't know him until I saw his roles, but the face and his long blonde hair made a lot of sense. He is, if you are a Stranger Things fan, for the last 2 seasons, he was the main bad guy. He was the main Demigorgon. What the hell is the name? Vincia. Or Vicina? We're not Stranger fans, people. But anyway, his makeup work and his voice, he's super commanding when he's on the screen. He also was young Grindelwald in the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows. So those are my picks. Again, I think a series would be the way to go. And a really cool book, too.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
So, an author that I am hooked on right now. I've read a lot of her books recently. I actually met her last year. She came and did an author event for the Des Moines Public Libraries, Abby Jimenez. She has gained a lot of popularity. She actually won like Cupcake Wars years ago. And she has Maddie cakes in all of her books. She talks about, she brings up Maddie cakes and even like some of her other, favorite restaurants in the Minneapolis area. So the book I'm choosing is Say You'll Remember Me. I loved this book. I ate it up. But I'm going to just read to you a part of the book that I laughed out loud because it's about a veterinarian. Okay, they see some weird things. I didn't know this was an actual thing. The main woman brings her kitten to the vet, and she finds this kitten. It's been abandoned, and so she's taking care of it, and so she thinks, to take it to the vet. Okay, the kitten has a congenital condition, I said. It's called atresia ani. It's when the rectum and anus don't fully develop. She blinked at me, and then at the kitten back in her shirt. I'm sorry, what? She doesn't have a functional anus or rectum. She stared. You're saying this kitten doesn't have a butthole. That is what I am saying.
You've read that passage to me
a couple of times.
A few times, and I've heard you do it on the phone to people. So that is one of your favorite written pieces of literature of all time.
Because just my cat doesn't have a butthole is not something you expect to read at the beginning of a romance novel. So let me tell you a little bit more about
cat buttholes.
No.
Oh.
The doctor, the veterinarian. So there's no such thing as a perfect guy. But Xavier Rush comes disastrously close. A gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes, all while cuddling a tiny kitten. Immediate yes. Also at the beginning of the book, a lady brings in a dog to be put down. Because her mother died, and in her will, she said that the dog needed to be put down, and the vet was like, nah. So he keeps the dog and takes care of the dog. So the dog's with him the rest of the book. But I love that story because there was nothing wrong with the puppy. The lady was just like, the dog can't live if I'm dead. Whatever. That is until Xavier opens his mouth and proves that even sculpted gods can say the absolute wrong thing, like really wrong. Of course, there's nothing Samantha loves more than proving an asshole wrong, unless, of course, he can admit he made a mistake. But after one incredible and seemingly endless date, Samantha is forced to admit the truth, that her family is in crisis and any kind of relationship would be impossible. Samantha begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. Only no amount of distance is time enough to forget what's between them. And the only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life and even a love worth remembering. So, the two characters are Samantha Diaz. She's bold, she's caring. Her mom has Alzheimer's and she has to move back home. And right now she's in the Minneapolis area, but she has to move back home, which is in California. And she's like, why did I have to meet the perfect guy? So she is, her family is Hispanic. They all live together. Grandma even lives with them. It's a wonderful thing, but wrong place, wrong time. They can't forget each other. They've got to make it work, right? But I'm not going to spoil anything because this book there's a lot that happens.
How many times have you reread this one?
I think I've only read it twice. I've read it twice, but I think I'm going to listen to it because she has wonderful audiobook readers, actors. So that's a new thing. I love to listen to audiobooks. So I am going to say I'd like Sophia Carson to play her. She is gorgeous. Dark hair, dark eyes. She's a Colombian actress, which fits perfectly with Samantha's character being from a Hispanic family. She's strikingly gorgeous, which is what Samantha is described as, and would be a perfect fit for the character. Also, I looked up online because there is a whole fan board for this book on who would play the perfect Xavier and who would play the perfect Samantha. This was the top pick for Samantha. And I agree completely. Now, the next one, I didn't pick the fan pick for the top for Xavier. I picked the next guy, but Xavier is described as a brooding veterinarian with financial struggles and abusive parents. He is described as romantic and too perfect, often compared to a romantic book boyfriend. I mean, a book comparison within a book.
It's bookception.
So this one is a bit harder because he's almost too perfect to cast. He's handsome and has the qualities anyone would want in a partner, but, and I'm going to say this guy's last name incorrectly, I'm sure, but David Cornsweet.
No, you got it.
Okay. Is a perfect pick for this character. He's tall, seems a little broody, but has such sweet eyes and looks caring. He did play Superman, so you have to have, you know, some qualities to, in order to play Superman. Other fans of the books said that Richard Dice would be a perfect casting also. While I agree, I liked, David better. I didn't see a lot of stuff that the other guy had been in. He's a French actor, so he's only well known for this one thing he did in a French movie back in 2014. So, but he's a really good looking guy. But
so there you go. Movie, series,
this
show.
I think this could be a show because they have to go back and forth a lot between different cities and everything. So
do like a limited 6 episodes.
Yeah, I would definitely say like 45-minute episodes, six of those, and it would be perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my next one, you could make this a movie. I would absolutely love it if you could stretch it out to a series. Currently 2 books out. One is still in production, not ready to be out yet. It actually started from Reddit threads of creative writing. Byron is the author. The book is A Lonely Broadcast, Book 1. If you find yourself driving down a winding mountain road near an endless stretch of pines, try tuning into 104.6, the radio station that shouldn't exist. The village of Pine Haven has a secret of monstrous proportions. Evelyn McKinnon, a radio host falling on hard times, find herself utterly unprepared when she learns that the radio station isn't just for entertainment. It's a watchtower, a literal fire watchtower in the mountains. She's stalked by a bird with human eyes, and her new co-host won't stop singing show tunes. And when the fog rolls in, the beasts of Pine Haven Forest begin their brutal hunt. Evelyn and her friends are suddenly face to face with something much scarier than the ravenous flesh giants and vengeful responsibility. So again, a massive horror book. Definitely very, very gory. This would definitely earn its MA title if it was getting a rating. Evelyn McKinnon, I'm going to go an untraditional route. Instead of it being an actress that is known for acting, I'm going to actually recruit a real-life DJ for the main part. She is this tiny thing that's a ball of energy from Chicago, Maria Palmer. She would be absolutely perfect. The personality is described as being sarcastic, dry, and unnecessarily hostile at times. That is Evelyn, the character in the book. And I think that Maria, if prompted and paid, could absolutely pull that part off. That's kind of who I envisioned. And I think her voice matches very well with the voice actress that did the audio version of the book. Now, that girl's a bodybuilder and almost 6 feet tall. So she wouldn't work in the real life version of this. But I think for Evelyn, I would go Maria Palmer. There's her co-host that is a little awkward. He is Hispanic and he's described as being tall but skinny and a little nervous. I immediately got the inspiration. The first passage that I read for Daniel Esperanza, it's going to be Ray Santiago from Ash versus Evil Dead. He has been in a lot of other things, a lot of other roles, but the reason why I fell in love with the guy, he is one of the main characters in that series and just absolutely phenomenal as Pablo. I think he would be a great 1-2 punch of the ones that are there. He's also going to be playing a very wounded character throughout, not just emotionally, but because it is a horror book, spoilers, physically as well. I think he can pull that off because he's got the Ash versus Evil Dead training on him. Then the last one is one that really isn't described in the first book. You get little glimpses, so in your mind it's almost like a smoky, blurred out face. But Stephen Finn, he's a police officer that steps away from being an officer, and then he winds up helping them at the station in a little bit more capacity as the books go on. But his physical appearance isn't described very often, aside from the fact he's intimidating. He's described as broad, strong enough that Daniel worries he could be picked up and thrown into the woods. Evelyn describes him as having graying hair, although his exact age isn't given, and he has facial hair, and he has an intense face, rarely smiles, and his clothes often smell like cigarette smoke. I think just kind of looking at some of the actors that you could pull that type of performance out of and having that kind of serious, disgruntled look about him, and because you're being asked to help at the radio station again, I'm going Chris Pine. I think Chris Pine could do it, and seeing him in a different type of role, I think that would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
So this one definitely is going to be a series. It could be a movie, but again, I'm going 100% series and an MA rating 100%. It'll make people bash or be bashful compared to what they saw in Game of Thrones even. It's going to be gory for sure. So those are our picks. Fiction to Film is done on a wrap, and we'd love to hear from you. Please hit us up on socials. I don't know if you want to throw yours out there or not, but you can hit us up on the C&J Studios Pod pages, or you could shoot us emails. You can send Smitty or I your messages, or even comment on our posts as this goes live. But again, Trista, thank you so much for being our co-host today.
You're welcome.
And Smitty and I do a thing where we touch tubes, but that's weird, so let's kiss.
No, I don't wanna.
Fine, I'll do it to Smitty next time. I love you.
I love you too.
We'll see you guys next time.